Kaieteur Radio, the radio with a difference.
Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burby's 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Good evening and welcome to this evening's newscast right here on Kaieteur Radio. Before we get to the news in detail, let's get to the front page comment brought to you by Kaieteur News. President Ali appears powerful when talking, but is weak in delivering. The permit for Payara Field Development Plan has been approved after a record-breaking review which turned out to be a charade and a cheap joke. Guyana accepted, without objection or a fight, another 6 for a 9. The wool is now being pulled over our faces. This grand betrayal is being garnished with talk about hefty fines for environmental wrongdoing. Instead of using Payara as leverage to obtain a better deal, our leaders have once again conspired to shortchange our people. It is yet another link in the chain of treachery. Yet again, they have sold us out. All over the world, former colonial societies are agitating for a review of unfair terms in agreements signed with oil companies. Guyana had signed the worst deal ever, and the calls for vociferous for a renegotiation to secure a better deal, which would allow us, our children and grandchildren, to have a decent life free from want. The Ali administration was presented with a golden opportunity to make this happen. Instead of grasping this opportunity, his government has instead given its stamp of approval to the ugliest oil deal ever signed. This decision by the Irfan Ali administration represents ultimate betrayal. It is unredeemable and an unforgivable act. It smacks of utter disregard for the Guyanese people. It is sordid and sickening. The Guyanese people were not asking for much. All they wanted was a higher rate of royalty, less in terms of reclaimable expenses, and greater transparency. These hopes for a better deal were dashed. The Irfan Ali administration has failed the people. His government has sold out the people's birthright. And now we get to the news in detail. I am Kevin Smith. Even though the PPP administration is set to grant ExxonMobil approval for its third development called Payara, international lawyer Melinda Janke is categorically stating that such a move would be reckless when one considers the environmental implications. Janke articulated that Payara is one of the most dangerous new oil projects on the planet. Expounding further, she noted that ExxonMobil's subsidiary, Esso, wants to drill 45 wells going about 2 miles below the seabed. In her view, the oil is under dangerously massive pressure. She stressed that just one small mistake and the well blowout could destroy Guyana's entire fisheries and the blue economies of the Caribbean. Further to this, Janke pointed out that Payara's environmental impact assessment admits that the spill could see oil ending up in Venezuela and the Caribbean Sea and islands as far as Jamaica, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. In this regard, the lawyer noted that Guyana could end up with no seafood and a massive billion-dollar bill for compensation from its neighbors. In other news, the Ministry of Labour will be taking an aggressive approach to capacity building to ensure that Guyana has a resilient workforce. Minister Joseph Hamilton has said that this will be done through various training programs to equip staff with the necessary skills to ensure efficiency at the ministry. The minister said is to expand the supervisory role in all the regions to ensure that all the regions are properly supervised. Staff will also be trained in foreign languages, including Spanish and Portuguese, to enable better communication with foreign workers. Additionally, the Labour Minister disclosed that the Board of Industrial Training will be revamped. A plan has been outlined which will see the expansion of the training institution across all administrative regions. And moving on, the Government Analyst Food and Drug Department on September 18, 2020 acquired international accreditation of its Inspectorate Division. The status of International Standard Organization 17020 achievement was conferred by American Association for Laboratory Accreditation. According to the department, after over 2 years of preparation of its standard operating procedures and its quality management system for inspection, it was subjected to an assessment exercise by A2LA during the period August 17th to 20th, 2020. And moving on, Chief Elections Officer of GCOM, Keith Lowenfield, was yesterday arrested and subsequently released on conditional bail as investigators continue their probe into the protracted March 2nd, 2020 elections. Giving an update, the Guyana Police Force in a statement revealed that investigators from the Criminal Investigations Department headquarters at Ivlery arrested Lowenfield and put several allegations of criminal conduct to him in the presence of his attorney. The police said that Lowenfield, after being told of the allegations, opted to exercise his right to remain silent. Thereafter, a confrontation was held between the CEO and a witness, and according to the force, once again Lowenfield opted to remain silent. In other news, China Harbor Engineering Company, the Chinese contractor that is under pressure with the $150 million Chedijagan International Airport expansion project, has denied abusing its duty-free concessions. It was reported in 2015 that the contractor, which did work on the Movie Town project, was abusing its duty-free concessions privileges by using its equipment from the airport project on other construction sites. Staffers and others affiliated with the company had attested to this, and when the initial story was reported in 2015, the company never refuted it. In a statement Thursday night, the contractor, however, broke its silence after another story on the issue was reported on Kaieteur Radio and Kaieteur News. The statement said that the company has at all times complied with the laws of Guyana, and in instances when it is necessary, they were guided by GRA and local auditing firms and accountants. Over 100 witnesses are expected to testify against Region 4 Returning Officer Clermont Mingo when the trial begins for the misconduct in public office charges. The accused, along with his lawyer Nigel Hughes, made their second appearance yesterday in the Georgetown Magistrates Courts before the Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan. When the matter was called, Prosecutor Tariq Mohammed from the chambers of the DPP informed the court that the prosecution will be making partial disclosure of statements. Prosecutor Mohammed also made an application for summary disposal of the charges that would allow Mingo to plead to the charges since they would no longer be indictable. However, an objection was made by Hughes on the grounds that the possibility of more charges being made against his client. They are expected to make their next appearance on November 16, 2020 in court. And moving on, opposition leader Joseph Harmon revealed yesterday that he wrote to President Dr. Irfan Ali requesting documents substantiating all agreements the government has entered into since assuming office on August 2nd. Harmon said several reports in the local and international media prompted this request. When noting his letter to Ali, Harmon was responding to a question about the oil sector. He said that he is willing to work with the new government, but that it appears to be acting like a know-it-all government. Now let's tell you that the Department of Citizenry under the previous APNU-AFC administration was paying $1.5 million a month to rent a single tent for their office. This and other concerning details were shared by the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, Gail Teixeira, on Monday. The minister indicated that due to COVID-19 and social distancing protocols, the department thought it necessary to retain the services of Star Party Rentals to lease the tent at the beginning of March 2020. When we visited the department's office on Shiv Chandapal Drive yesterday afternoon, we discovered that the tent was an ordinary one. In totality, the previous government would have expended $10.5 million of taxpayers' money to rent a single tent for 7 months. Similarly sized and quality tents could be sourced online for $300,000, which is 1/5 of the cost for the monthly rental. Minister Teixeira was noted had noted that the contract for that rental service will be terminated at the end of this month. And that brings us to the end of this evening's newscast.
And that's the news of the moment. Remember to get the full details of these stories, pick up a copy of the Kaieteur News. And don't forget, you can catch us on the MyTuner app as well as the Radio Garden app. You can also keep up to date by liking our Facebook page at Kaieteur Radio and subscribing to our YouTube channel, Kaieteur Radio Livestream. Oh, also catch our stream at www.kaieteurnewsonline.com/radio. Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your